What's up, everyone? It's Karate23 here on my channel, finally. So this is going to be the first video that I post in a while, and honestly, I had something completely different in mind for this. I actually want to talk about how useful, like, status-type moves are in Pokemon, and of course, real quick, if you don't know, status moves are traditionally moves that don't do damage, like, themselves, typically when you use them right away. Some of them do damage, like Stealth Rock or Spikes, for example, are status moves. Other moves like Swords Dance and Leer and things like that raise and lower certain stats either of your own Pokemon or your opponent's Pokemon. And I was just gonna go over some of like the really cool ones to use in battle and some of the ones that are more probably the most useful. But then I came across this article from The Gamer, which you know, of course, The Gamer has like great articles. I'm going to be sort of kind of reviewing this article and just seeing exactly what the heck's going on and what they think the top 10 or 10 status moves are actually worth using. Um, so yeah, I guess without further ado, no more intro. Let's just get into it. So the first one they have is Calm Mind, which Calm Mind is actually a very good move. Calm Mind can upgrade two stats that are vital for a big setup. Vita, not vital. Special attack, special defense. The best to use a major special attacker like Alakazam using Psychic. Have severely scary power if you can pull it off enough time. Other Pokemon using Calm Mind in that way would have less use out of the strategy and the use of the move is dependent on being able to set up a big hit. And the stats buffed all 5 stages makes a Psychic team sweeper. Also to know with like Calm Mind and stuff, like obviously Alakazam has a huge special attack stat, so that's why getting up 1 or 2 Calm Minds with Alakazam, especially making it more specially defensive, can basically let it come in and more than likely take out quite a few Pokemon, if not sweep, on the way out. But Calm Mind with other like Psychic type users just is really powerful. Again, like Calm Mind on like the laddies on Gardevoir can make them all scary, especially if you just get to set up like in general most Pokemon that just get to set up like 2 or 3 Calm Minds. Whether you're playing like a casual playthrough or you're playing in competitive Pokemon, just makes it very very hard to deal with unless you have a certain subset of Pokemon or like certain other moves like Roar and Whirlwind to kind of get them out, or if you can just hit them physically if they're not very physically bulky, which obviously Alakazam really isn't. And they spell Alakazam wrong too. Yikes. But yeah, so first off, like Calm Mind, yeah, that's a pretty good move to have here. The next one being Sand Attack. Yes, you hate this move with a fire in your gut. It can really cause indigestion any Pokemon fan, but there's a reason it's so aggravating and annoying because spamming Sand Attack is a genuine and effective strategy. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. So I think casually, yes, like if you just Sand Attack 6 times, like you have a very good chance that like you're just going to knock out whatever that Pokemon is, and it essentially ends up being a knockout unless they switch out. The reason why I don't like Sand Attack so much, like maybe some of the other moves that I have in mind, is because like once you Sand Attack and this thing can't hit anything, it's virtually a knockout. You still have to knock it out, and you have to set up Sand Attacks all over again. Normally with status moves, at least the ones that I see that are worth using, are ones that you want to get permanent buffs from. That's why I prefer usually like the Bulk Ups, the Calm Minds, the Nasty Plots, and the Swords Dances over the Leers, Growls, and in this case Sand Attacks as well. But while technically it is pretty effective in what it does, I definitely would not recommend Sand Attack as a move that you use. It can be only things dumb AI and Pokemon got right, yeah. It still sucks. Destiny Bond. Destiny Bond is a deadly status element, but that makes it excellent. It's best used on weaker Pokemon against a stronger Pokemon that can wipe your whole team. It will be a sacrifice to that Pokemon. It's a miracle if you can defeat the team sweeper. You're basically rooting for the other team because once that Pokemon faints, that's game, set, and match. You definitely don't have to be on the receiving end on this one strategy, especially if you only have one Pokemon left. So, I know in competitive Pokemon before that they had like Destiny Bond, like shenanigans and things like that. Like you just have a Pokemon that uses like a Focus Sash, goes for Destiny Bond, and then the other Pokemon ends up like either having to switch out or KOs. The thing is, like Destiny Bond is sort of kind of like an easy out. I mean, realistically, playing around Destiny Bond can be pretty easy. Again, like that scenario I set up where, like, yeah, you survive the hit and you get Destiny Bond off, but then they either just get to set up on your Pokemon, and if that Pokemon that you have Destiny Bond on really can't touch the other Pokemon, basically your Pokemon that you have out is just going to be set up fodder for them, and then they're actually just going to be able to sweep. So while Destiny Bond, I think, can just kind of get people sometimes, I think if you're going up against like experienced players, it's not going to. You're not really going to get them all that often, and it's just going to be more of a hindrance to your team rather than actually helping your team. But honestly, still, I guess not terrible, but definitely very low on my list. Curse, but with ghost types. If you like inflicting poison type status elements, you have fun with this ghost type version. Essentially, does major damage every turn for half of your Pokemon's health. You get to even imagine what curse word your Pokemon says each time it uses the move. This move is really useful if you need to whittle down an opponent at some decent damage and have room to sacrifice health on Pokemon to get to the end. Curse works completely different from other types of Pokemon, that version being much more inferior to the ghost type version of this move. And honestly, I think they're wrong. So basically, Curse deals, I believe it's a quarter of its HP to whoever the curse is inflicted on for the cost of half of that Pokemon's HP. And yes, if you use Curse with, I think, exactly half or less than half, you'll set the curse, but then your Pokemon will faint. And if you have Curse on a non-Ghost type Pokemon, it raises the attack and defense and lowers the speed. And honestly, Curse on non-Ghost types, I think, are just better in a vacuum than Curse on Ghost types. Simply for the fact that you do, just like Bulk Up, get like the 2 stages. Usually for the Pokemon that do want to run Curse, like their speed is already low as it is, kind of like Snorlax and even like Muck to a point. Just them getting to use Curse and be slower is fine because they're normally going to be going second anyway. So it really doesn't matter. And then they just hit a lot harder, and they also get bulkier, which makes them even harder to like take out. So I definitely do not agree with this. I think this would be considered a hot take. But for like a casual playthrough and stuff like that, Curse really isn't that bad considering you have access to items like in battle and things like that. So you could Curse and like heal it off and be fine and be able to hopefully tank out some hits to basically sweep the whole team. Perisong is another kamikaze move, but more definite. You use this move and you know all the Pokemon in the field is going to faint. This can really be damaging in double or triple battles against yourself, as all of your Pokemon that are on the field will faint in 3 turns with the enemy's Pokemon. This move is a definite win if used right, but it won't be an automatic sweep. This move was first introduced with Lapras and probably saved many players' battles. So, Perisong in like a singles format really isn't necessarily all that great, just because the likelihood that they're going to be able to switch out to a Pokemon is pretty high. And normally, if they're down to their last Pokemon, it's pretty weak anyway, just from the nature of single battles. But in doubles battles, in a VGC especially, Perisong can be very, very good if you're just able to take out 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Obviously, they only have the 2 left, and as long as you have a third or even both Pokemon still in the back, you can Perisong, set the timer for everybody, and then essentially just kind of like stall out for those amount of turns. And especially with Sword and Shield, obviously you have like Protect and even Dynamax being able to max guard. If you kind of like play everything right, you're able to survive the Perisong, everything gets knocked out, and then you have a Pokemon left, which means that you win. And of course, again, it's easier when you're playing in a format where it allows 4 Pokemon and 2 of them are out at any given time, and you're able to knock out 2 of them. Perisong can be an instant win, but aside from that, Perisong really isn't that good of a status move. Rest with Snore. Rest can leave you wide open for attack, and it's a big pain. The move is commonly deleted for other moves, but that completely leaves out the second part of the move even more useful. This will take up 2 slots. It pretty much means that if you use this Pokemon, your only strategy is this, but it can be useful with Pokemon with strong attacks. Rest heals you, but leaves you unable to attack for 3 turns. Snore allows you to attack even though you're asleep, means you can fully heal every 3 turns or so. And they kind of get this right because in older formats like Gold, Silver, Crystal, and even, I believe, Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, and even Fire, Red, Leaf, Green, Rest Talk Snorlax is really, really good, especially, and that's kind of obviously what this picture depicts. And in Gold, Silver, Crystal, like metagames and stuff like that, like Rest Talk is super, super big. Like it just is like better than Recover because it heals all of your HP and it heals your status. And then you obviously can still use moves, and that's kind of a reason why like you'll see Snorlax sets that have like Curse, either like Curse with Rest and Sleep Talk, and then they have whatever the other, like another move like either Body Slam, Double Edge, or something like that, some kind of stab move for Snorlax, and that's basically how like Gold, Silver, Crystal metagame looks like, with a lot of Pokemon just being able to run that kind of set. So uh, while Rest doesn't necessarily need to be run with Snore or Sleep Talk or whatever it is, this is actually a very good combo, and I do agree with this that it can be very good just so you get to attack and everything while you sleep and get more sort of value out of healing up 50 to 75% of your health and possibly healing off a status condition. Number 4, Hypnosis with Dream Eater. Holy cow. Alright, Hypnosis can be really strong by itself because of its accuracy, but if you combine it with Dream Eater, you get an extra strong move. So that takes 2 moves, otherwise your coverage on Pokemon's moves, but it can lead to another team sweeper strategy. Dream Eater does extra damage than other moves if the Pokemon is sleeping. Using them together can be dangerous setup and hit. And I believe Dream Eater can only be used if the Pokemon's sleeping for obvious reasons. Apparently, what they don't know about Hypnosis has atrocious accuracy. Honestly, if essentially the move was going to be Dream Eater, I think that they should have went for like Spore, because Spore obviously is 100% accurate, or at least more accurate than Hypnosis. That being said, while this combo is very good, in a vacuum, like this would be very powerful. It's just not worth taking up 2 slots because Hypnosis is just so unreliable, and with that, like Dream Eater really isn't all that great. So maybe, I don't know, if you're like trying to do some shenanigans, I guess, with Gengar, like you just want to kind of do the thing that like Gengar wants to do, like in the anime and stuff, then yeah, this combination's fine. But typically, like these aren't worth 2 move slots, like Rest and Sleep Talk are in like the older generations, and even like some others where like they have like Combine, like Refresh and things like that. Metronome. It's a risk, but there's a good chance you'll get Roar Time. That is completely wrong because Metronome, as they say, like Metronome gives you basically access to every move in the game. Many of the moves are useless, but it can be a chance of getting some combo from the list. So that so long as it isn't a random self-destruct, you should be fine. Isn't it wrong to keep the element of surprise to keep in handy? And while Metronome is a fun move, and I will say that like there's been plenty of battles on Stadium and Stadium 2 between like my friends where literally we just rent all the Pokemon that know Metronome, and it's just a Metronome battle. That's a lot of fun. But in terms of battling and things like that, the reason why Metronome really doesn't get used, even though you could just get like Roar Time on like whatever Pokemon, like Clefairy or Clefable or whatever, it's just very inconsistent. Like while yes, it could go very bad, or it could go like very good. Like you could get a super powerful, like super effective move. There's also a very good chance that like yeah, you could get a self destruct, or you could just get like Leer or something like that. And I think the list of very bad moves is a lot bigger than the list of like very good moves, that it isn't worth the inconsistency of Metronome. But I will say, very, very fun move to use, just when you're kind of messing around with like friends and stuff. Number 2, Leashseed. Leashseed can be very useful in regaining health and doing damage if the enemy Pokemon lives and yours doesn't. Your next Pokemon will keep gaining health too. This can help save your Pokemon too if you're outmatched. This life-saving move is something most grass types can learn, making it very readily available. Being you can keep reusing this move with every one of your opponent's Pokemon can be a great benefit. Uh, this really isn't all that great. So like Leech Seed, I think is a very good move if you play in like the story and things like that. But in reality, Leech Seed just isn't as good as like some of the other moves that you could use. I know in like Generation 1 it was kind of busted if you had Toxic as well, because they would all stack weirdly, and Leech Seed would do like a ton of damage and you would just gain a ton of health. And while that's great, this isn't obviously Generation 1, we're in Gen 8, and honestly if you're going to be using status moves, you're better off just like setting up swords dances and nasty plots, which should be kind of like the theme for this whole list. Is like you could be doing all these things, but in reality, like if you're playing through the story and in VGC, more than likely you're not using any of these moves except for like Calm Mind, you know, was one. Leashseed is definitely not a move that you're typically using. You're typically just going for like, again, swords dance, nasty plot, Calm Mind, bulk up, something to that effect that just gives you a ton of attack power rather than just trying to whittle away your opponent, which I think a lot of these are kind of like akin to singles battles. And this one, Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock is at its strongest when it has strong, high damage team. It can inflict damage on Pokemon getting sent out, punching your opponent, or switching in Pokemon during battle. If your opponent has Sturdy, the effect is immediately killed with Stealth Rock, so you can one hit KO that dirty Geodude. It can modernly be learned by many Rock and Steel type Pokemon to give you easy access to moves with the potentially tanky Pokemon. And if you've played singles before, like Stealth Rock is basically like a necessity. It hits just about everything. I don't know if there's necessarily like a resistance to Stealth Rock, but I think like for most Pokemon, you know, like this completely cripples like flying types and fire types as well. On rip to my boy Charizard because it really, really hates Stealth Rock. But that being said, as far as like playing in like a casual playthrough, Stealth Rock really isn't that great. But obviously in singles, this is a very good and almost a must-have move, just for the fact that it accounts for so much damage over time that it really can't be understated that like this move is very good in competitive singles. In doubles, it's not really all that great. I mean, you could use it. I saw Wolfglick use it in WBE. That was really cool. It did put in a little bit of work, but generally, you're not getting in enough switch-ins and things like that, and the damage doesn't matter when you can use the aforementioned moves that I've been basically using throughout this whole article to essentially hit harder than what Stealth Rock would actually do in taking that turn. Like, you would just do more damage if you set up a Swords Dance than if you set up Stealth Rocks and then attack the next turn, rather than just going Swords Dance and attacking the next turn. So, overall, I think this list is pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. So, I think Calm Mind is definitely a move that should be on here. They say that these are the best overlooked moves. And I guess, like, sure, like, some of these combinations and stuff are, like, I guess make sense. But in reality, like, it just shouldn't be moves that are overlooked. It should just be, like, the top 10 status moves. And honestly, I don't think you can have that list with only Calm Mind on it. I think you have to have, like, Bulk Up, Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, things like that. Swagger can be on here because there are some Pokemon in doubles that can abuse Swagger with Pokemon that can't be confused or that have berries or one of the feathers or whatever that basically snaps them out of confusion, and you just get a free +2 on top of being able to also attack that turn. Curse being on here, I like, just not with ghost types. I'd say without ghost types because that move's just very good. And that's really it. I think the rest of these you could definitely leave at home. Really, like the status moves that are, of course, are worth using are the stat boosting moves, and then if you have like a Pokemon with Prankster, getting to use like Tailwind and like Thunder Wave, things like that. Moves with like Speed Control and Spore, just as a very accurate sleep move. That would be some amalgamation of my list, and maybe I'll make a list another day. Depending on how this does, I'd imagine probably not that great because this is my first video in a while. But that is the Gamers 10 status moves in Pokemon actually worth using. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of these moves are not worth using. If you know a lot of these moves, you, again, would just be better off like teaching your Pokemon stat boosting moves that actually make a difference, that are going to be more permanent and not affect just like one single Pokemon in a singular battle. You'd be better off just like affecting your own Pokemon that are going to be able to battle, hopefully, multiples of your opponent's Pokemon. But yeah, that's going to be it for the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed. If you want to see more like article review things, let me know in the comments of the video. And also, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you know when I post videos, because I'm going to be posting videos hopefully just about every day. At least all my streams every day. Speaking of the streams, you should totally also follow me on Twitch as well, considering that I stream just about every day on Twitch for at least a few hours. Currently playing through Pokemon Crystal Hardcore Nuzlocke. Hopefully y'all will be joining me because I will be going live today, which will be super exciting. And yeah, that's it. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.